Good morning, students. Today we will be continuing the same chapter, heat. Okay, a small recapitulation. What is heat? It is a form of energy which gives us the sensation of warmth or coldness. And the energy, since it is a form of energy, the SI unit of heat is joule. Another unit is calorie, and we all know that 1 calorie is equal to 4.186 joules, or approximately 4.2 joules. Then we had learnt about the other forms of other temperature scales. They were degree Celsius, Fahrenheit, and we all know that the SI unit of the temperature is Kelvin scale. Now today we are going to derive a relationship between the three temperature scales. Now for that we must know, say I'm drawing three thermometers. Say one for degree Celsius, one for degree Fahrenheit, and one for Kelvin. Now student, remember that when we are expressing the temperature in Kelvin, we do not use the degree sign, because the Kelvin scale is independent of either of the thermometric property. Now the lower point or the ice point of degree Celsius is 0 degree centigrade, and the steam point is 100 degree centigrade. For the Fahrenheit scale, the lower point or the ice point is 32 degree Fahrenheit, and the steam point is 212 degree Fahrenheit. For the Kelvin scale, it is 273 Kelvin, and steam point is 373 Kelvin. So we can easily derive the relationship C minus 0 upon 100 minus 0. Whatsoever the temperature will be lying between these two, the C minus 0 and 100 minus 0, again F minus 32, 212 minus 32. This is the number of divisions between the ice point and the steam point. Similarly, K minus 273 upon 373 minus 273. Now on simplifying, we get C by 100 is equal to F minus 32 upon 180 is equal to K minus 273 upon 100. So if we compare these two first, so we can easily, okay, 1 0 will be cancelled out, 2 5 10, 2 9 18. So we get a relationship between them. C by 5 is equal to F minus 32 upon 9. Now this is the relationship between degree Celsius and Fahrenheit scale. And when we compare degree centigrade with the Kelvin scale, C by 100, K minus 273 divided by 100. So 100 will be cancelled out, or C is equal to K minus 273, or K is equal to C plus 273. So on comparing, so we see that C is equal to K minus 273, or we can write K is equal to C plus 273. Now these are the two relationships between degree Celsius and Fahrenheit and degree Celsius and Kelvin scale for the conversion of one temperature into the another scale. Okay, let us take some example. The first example, say, convert 60 degrees centigrade into degree Fahrenheit. Now, so as to convert 60 degrees centigrade into degree Fahrenheit, we have to learn that formula which we have derived at the previous board. Okay, so we all know that the formula is C by 5 is equal to F minus 32 by 9. Now what is given to us? 60 degrees centigrade. That means the value of C is given. On substituting the value of C over here, 60 by 5 is equal to F minus 32 by 9. We can easily simplify 5 and 5, 12, 12 into 9, 108 is equal to F minus 32. Now transposing 32 to the other side, 32 is equal to F, or F is equal to 10, 4, 140 degree Fahrenheit. Now, convert 68 degree Fahrenheit into degree Celsius. Again, using the same formula, C by 5 is equal to F minus 32 by 9. Now this time the temperature is given in Fahrenheit, so we will put the value at F. Remember students, you have to substitute the correct value at the correct place, otherwise you will not get the correct answer. So C by 5 is equal to 68 minus 32 divided by 9. Okay, C by 5 is equal to 36 by 9, or we all know that 9 4 is 36. So C is equal to 5 into 4, that is 20 degrees centigrade. So 68 degree Fahrenheit corresponds to 20 degrees centigrade in Celsius scale. Okay students, now find the temperature in degree Celsius as well as in degree Fahrenheit corresponds to same magnitude or the same value. So for that, let degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit value is x. C by 5 is equal to F minus 32 by 9. Now substituting x at the place of C as well as in the place of F. Cross multiplying 9x, 5x minus 5 to the 10, 5 to 50, 160, or we say 9x minus 5x is equal to minus 160, or 4x is equal to minus 160, or x is equal to minus 160 by 4, that is 40. X comes out to be minus 40. So at the temperature minus 40 degrees centigrade and minus 40 degree Fahrenheit are same. Okay, open page 77, students. Check point 1. The question 1 is the fill in the blanks. 1 dash is equal to 4.2 joule. So we all know that 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. B part. Generally dash is used as a thermometric liquid. Generally mercury is used as a thermometric liquid. C part. The lower and upper fixed points are respectively dash and dash on the Fahrenheit scale. That is, lower fixed point is 32 degree Fahrenheit and upper fixed point is 212 degree Fahrenheit on the Fahrenheit scale. Now question number 2. What is the direction of flow of heat? Heat always flows from high temperature towards low temperature. B part. Can heat energy be transformed into other forms of energy? Yes. Now we will study about the effects of heat. The first one is change in temperature. Now, if a heat is supplied to a substance, then its temperature will rise, and if heat is extracted from the substance, then its temperature will decrease. Say, for example, if your mother wants to make a tea, so what she does? She boils the water, so we are supplying the heat to the water, the temperature of the water rises. But in summers we use matka or earthen pot to cool water. So what happens that if water seeps out on the surface of the earthen pot, absorbs heat from the water and evaporate, making the water cooler. So if you are extracting heat, the temperature of the body will fall, and if you are supplying heat, then the temperature of the body will increase. Then another effect is thermal expansion or contraction. Now you people must have observed there are gaps in between two rails. A small gap is provided between two rails. Why is it so? Because in summer, when the temperature is high, when the heat is coming from the sun is high, so what happens? The rails, iron rails, absorb heat and they expand. And if they didn't find the space for expansion, then the railway track will be deformed. In the same way, you people see that during summer, the wires sag. What happens? They absorb heat and they expand, and therefore they sag. But during winter, what you will see? They contract and again they become taut between the two poles. Third, change of state. Okay, by supplying the heat, we can change the state. We had already learned about the three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. So if we are heating, then solid will convert into liquid. If we are supplying heat to the solid, it will convert into liquid. If we are supplying heat to the liquid, it will convert into gas. Similarly, if we are extracting heat from the gas, it will convert into liquid, and if we are extracting heat from the liquid, it will convert into solid. And we also know that if there are certain solids on supplying heat, they directly convert into the gas. They are called that process is called the sublimation. So this is one of the effect of the heat, that it changes the state of matter or state of the body. Chemical change. Okay, when a substance like wood, charcoal, petrol, paper, when we heat them, what happens? They catches fire and provide heat and light energy. So there the chemical change was there. The substance undergoes a chemical change with the formation of the carbon dioxide and a large amount of heat and light. Now burning substance in the presence of air or oxygen with the release of large amount of heat and light is called combustion. So For homework, define combustion. Okay, for the homework, you have to define combustion and you have to complete checkpoint 2 with pencil in a book only. Need not to copy down in your fair notebook. Okay students, now we will come to the next topic, that is transfer of heat. So as we all know that when two bodies are in contact and if there is temperature difference, mind it, this is important thing, if there is temperature difference, then heat will flow from the body at higher temperature towards the body at lower temperature, and this process will continue till both the bodies attain the same temperature. When both the bodies attain the same temperature, that condition is called thermal equilibrium. That condition is called thermal equilibrium, and at that condition the transfer of heat stops. Now there are three modes of transfer of heat. The first one is conduction, induction, and radiation. Now, for understanding the conduction, say you people are sitting in a class row wise, and if I pass a book or a paper to the first student and that has to be passed to the last student, so what happens, the first student gives back to the immediately next student at the back, then immediately next at the back, and this way by point to point the paper is passed to the last student. This is the process called conduction. When the heat is transferred from hotter end towards the colder end by passing through particle to particle is called conduction. Now, for induction, if I give a paper or a book to the first student, he steps up from his place, goes to the last boy at the row and give that book. So that is the process called induction. That is when the heat is transferred from a hotter region to a colder region by the actual movement of the medium particles. And for radiation, if I give a book to the first student and he has to pass it to the last student, he just stands and simply throw the book towards the last student. This is the process where it's called radiation. So first we will study about the conduction. Now conduction, you have to define conduction in your book. It's a homework. You have to define it and make note of it. Now conduction, it is the process of the transfer of heat from the hotter end to the colder end of a solid without any actual visible movement of material particles of the solid substance, or when the heat is transferred from particle to particle from a hotter end towards the colder end. This you can easily observe at your home also under the guidance of your parents. You just take a large spoon and candle, light up the candle, put one end of the spoon on the flame and just wait for a few seconds. What you will feel that you can't hold that spoon any longer. You will drop it. Why? Because the part of the spoon which is over the flame absorbs heat, transfers it to the adjacent molecule, then again that molecule transfer it to the adjacent molecule, and this way from particle to particle heat transfers from the hotter end to the colder end. This is called conduction. Now, conductors and insulators. Conductors, substances which conducts heat are called conductors. Example, generally all the metals, but silver, copper, mercury, etc. They are good conductors. Insulators, substances which do not conduct heat are called insulators. Say example, asbestos, wool, paper, wood, plastic, etc. Now students, I will be posting a Google form. You people have to attempt that Google form because all of you know that your attendance depends on it. If your response is not recorded over there, then you will be marked absent for that day. Thank you students.